Mr. President, I move that we go into executive session.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Second, okay. Got a motion by Mr. Suffren and a second by Mr. Gregson to go into executive session. We are now in executive session.
Just pause. Hey, how are you?
This is item, yeah, we're still in, no, we're out of executive. We're still, Art and his group
I think it will be.
at 1.02. See what it's going on. Who's on the call? All right. Thank you.
Well, it was a state contract, so it's like a predetermined price or something. Okay, I'll go ahead and call risk management and insurance back to order. This year, our members are myself, Ms. Boudreau, and Mr. Gregson, and at this time, 1.02, which is analytic firm recommendation, and I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Darren Isha. And
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for allowing us to have this opportunity. Today, we'll be making a presentation about pharmacy analytic firms. Here today, I have Ms. Samantha Burris, insurance technician, who's sitting at the table with me. We'll also have Mr. David Babin here from USI. And as you can see on the screen, that's someone that we'll be introducing in just a little bit, but he'll be on the screen until we turn it over to him. So we're here today to discuss a pharmacy analytics firm. So we were self-insured and we transitioned to becoming self-insured in the year of 2022. We were new to the self-insured space. We relied on the recommendations of our brokers, which is USI, who has been great and has been our partners for over 20 years in helping us in our insurance space. At that time, we didn't know what questions to ask, and we weren't really sure what we were doing. We're kind of like kindergartners who's just now learning to ride a bike. We're starting to pick our feet up. We're now taking a couple turns, and we're starting to get there. So then in the year of 2024, Humana decided to get out of the group health insurance business, and so we had to transition to a new TPA. At that time, we decided we would keep everything the same because we had a big transition for our employees and retirees, and it was also a big transition for us. So that leads us to where we are now. We're taking off our training wheels, and we're starting to take a big step, and we're even thinking about getting a bigger bike. And we're starting to figure out what questions we need to ask and where we're going in the future. And for us, that means that we're starting to take more ownership of our data and figuring out, as a self-insured employer, how we can use that data to affect the bottom line and what we can do as an employer, and not just rely on some of our external sources that we have. So that leads us to where we are now in this building phase of how we can affect that bottom line and we can transition. And we started to look at the pharmacy analytics firm that we use. So what is a pharmacy analytics firm? A pharmacy analytics firm is a company that's not affiliated with the pharmacy benefit manager. Our current pharmacy benefit manager is OptumRx, and they're also not associated with our brokers, which is USI. They are an independent company who can advise us on our pharmacy benefits. So their focus areas are RFP evaluation for the PBM. So one of the things that they do is they go out and they do an RFP on our behalf for our contract. So when we signed with Optum, we had a pharmacy analytics firm that went out and they looked at available companies who could provide those benefits to us. They looked at the contract, they negotiated rebates, and then they helped us into implementation. So within that contract negotiation, they looked to see the different things that would help us for our pharmacy spend. This was all a part of their role, and it transitioned into implementation, service support, data auditing, and validations. Some of the key capabilities that a analytics firm does is they validate the contract compliance with the PBM, they benchmark performance against industry standards, they negotiate rates, and they facilitate service and performance guarantees. So the big question is, well, why do we need this? We need a pharmacy analytics firm because they ensure accountability of our contract commitment. They identify cost savings on our behalf, improve member outcomes, and they minimize the risk of
receiving services from a company that meets our needs and is the best fit for the evolution of our goals. So we requested that our brokers present to us at least 3 pharmacy analytics firms who provides the same or similar services. USI requested the RFP for pharmacy analytics firms on our behalf, and Ms. Gray and I received 4 presentations from pharmacy analytics firms. One was Truveris, who is our incumbent, Leaf Health, Pair Ally, and PCM. We evaluated the presentations based on the criteria listed on this slide shown, and the score sheet is available on board docs. Based on the evaluation results and goals set forth by the Risk Management and Benefits Department, the Risk Management and Benefits Committee recommends Payer Ally as the pharmacy analytics firm for St. Charles Parish Public Schools. Payer Ally is an independent, proactive, and mission-driven pharmacy analytics firm with institutional knowledge and a dedicated team. What differentiates Payer Ally is their focus on client communication and providing both short and long-range pharmaceutical strategies that will drive their PBM partners to lower costs, maximize value, and improve the member experience. If approved, Payer Ally's contract would be for 1 year. And with that, I will now turn it over to Mr. Will McHugh, who's the president of Payer Ally, so that he may formally introduce himself.
Great, great. Thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Will McHugh. I'm the president and founder of Payer Ally. For the folks in the room, I've been in the PBM space now for over 26 years. My background is in underwriting and finance, as well as account management. So obviously, my team, some of them, I'm representing them today, but all of our experts, and obviously the analytics part of our business is very, very important, but you will also have a PharmD assigned to your account. I think that's a big differentiator for us. Someone who understands pharmacy, understands clinical dynamics, and all those things as well. So I'll turn it over if there's any questions, but we appreciate the opportunity, and ultimately the buck stops with me. So your satisfaction is important to me, and I'll be available throughout the process. So if there's any questions, I'm available to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time?
How often will there be in-person meetings? How often do you expect to be in-person meetings with our new data analysts?
We will do quarterly meetings. Usually they're virtual. We can come on site as needed if there's an issue where you want us to present. We haven't had any solid commitments there, but that's not a problem. That would be included. We could do the quarterlies in person or virtual. Most of our clients want them virtual, but if you want someone there, absolutely.
That would be a recommendation that I would ask to see what everybody else thinks. I think at least one or two, the initial meetings be in person because of everything that you outlined, right? Training wheels off, all that. We want to learn as much as we can too.
You will meet with the committee quarterly. Will you issue a report to the board on your findings quarterly so that the board may be able to make any adjustments that have to be made as we go along and not wait until the end before we have to make emergency decisions?
Yes, we will quarterly. We will also involve ourselves in there. Usually, the way it works is as we look at issues in your contract or any other things. Like for example, as we look at claims data, we're looking at the drug pipeline too. So we look at your members and we see a certain amount of claims. We're going to be proactive, not only to help you with issues that are going on with your vendor now, but we're going to say, hey, we're looking at a drug pipeline, and some of these new to market medications you're probably going to see some utilization there. A good example is the GLP-1s, the weight loss medications. We've done really well over the last 3 years because we were one of the first consulting firms out there that said, hey, we're looking at your population. We got to come up with programs now, right? Because the utilization for these are going to skyrocket, right? So there are other, as you look at the drug pipeline, there's other high cost specialty meds and other things that we're monitoring. So as we're doing the quarterly claims, we're going to make sure that the PBM is performing the contract. If there's any issues, like they're failing to meet commitments or not performing the contract, we are going to intervene on your behalf. We're going to inform you, right? So you will be looped in on it, but we're going to do the heavy lifting. And then there's that third aspect of we're going to proactively say, hey, we're looking at your data. These are things you need to be thinking about going forward, right? And strategies you have to have in place so you don't get blindsided.
In understanding your request, Mr. Smith, the quarterly information that's presented to the Risk Management and Insurance Committee, you would like that information shared with the full board as well?
That's what I was going
Yes,
to,
sir.
I was going to say.
Yes, sir.
Not just shared with the full board, but once he has met with that committee, then whatever the findings that you discussed with the committee, that those findings be discussed with the board at its next committee meeting.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
When's the first quarterly meeting?
So Truveris is currently under contract until April 30th, 2026.
Yeah.
So if approved, Payer Ally would be under contract beginning May 1st. And then at that time, we will, during the transition phase, set the timelines for the quarterly meetings.
So we're offering a quarterly meeting
PBM to pay on our behalf, but there is a cost associated. So it's something that is tied to directly to our contract. So we decide what's the best pricing structure for us because it's indirectly tied to our contract.
You know how much we're saving?
Saving at the current moment.
Well, no, based on them.
The current contract right now is for $70,000. The anticipated cost for this contract is around $56,000. It's on where this structure is not a fat-based fee. It's based upon the claim, so it is subject to fluctuate. What we did is a modeling based upon the previous 12 months of analytics of pharmacy claims and was able to model out an anticipated cost. However, it is something that will be paid by the PBM.
Where do I find the rubric that you use to select this firm?
It's attached to board docs.
Yes, it's executive content. Are there any other questions at this time? Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
one. Who was on the selection committee for the?
The selection committee was just myself and Ms. Burris. There were not other departments involved in this because of the technical nature of this contract. In order for others to participate, they would have had to come up to speed on pharmacy analytics. So it wouldn't have been fair for other departments to participate in this process because of the technical nature of it. However, prior to Ms. Burris and I meeting with these companies, they were vetted by our brokers first. So USI did the first line of review before these companies even came to us. So it's kind of like they had two levels of review because USI vetted companies and then provided us companies for us to review.
Does USI have a process similar to this that you have rated when you look at companies like that first?
Yeah, so kind of taking a step back, our national pharmacy team typically vets the analytic firms, and we'll bring a selection to our clients. Risk management, and look, we'll always pivot, and as Ms. Gray had mentioned, risk management is taking a lot more ownership in the data. And so we kind of pivoted from more or less us vetting and trying to determine the best decision or best analytics firm for the district, and then turn that into, look, we'll bring together four and we'll bring it to risk management, and risk management vetted and made those decisions this round.
Okay, so you didn't have any kind of participation in rating?
We just really vetted them for them,
Okay.
of some
Quality,
analytic
effective,
ones
the
that
work that we need.
we're familiar with across the country.
Okay.
And brought that to risk management.
Okay. I also appreciate that I've been on these before, and when you don't know what you don't know, similar to you don't know what questions to ask. If you don't know what you don't know, how are you rating things of what something means? So thank you for informing us.
Yes, ma'am, and we understood while that may have been a concern about it being a smaller committee, but we said, it's when it's so technical in nature and you bring in others who don't understand the technicalness of it, they're just, could be possibly putting scores on a page without knowing what they're.
Yeah, because how can I rate clinical expertise? Okay.
The data transfer, if you will, is that a pretty easy process to happen? Is Truveris, I mean, it's our data, but they don't have it under lock and key anywhere, do they? And maybe, Will, you might be able to answer that if you've done something like this before.
Yeah, so we will be getting data from your PBM similar to what Truveris does. There's a process for us to get it, right? We probably wouldn't get it from Truveris. We would get it from your PBM vendor moving forward. And we have connectivity with all of the PBMs, the top 20. We all have connectivity with all of them.
Are there any other questions at this time?
Well, I just have one question I want to direct to USI. The analytic data that's gathered by this firm and that will be reviewed and so forth, and the points that need to be highlighted for us, that data will be shared with you guys, correct? So that when we are going out looking for pharmaceutical providers, that you guys will be recommending on the basis of that data, am I correct?
Ray, would we be coordinating with Payer Ally?
Yes, sir.
Or- Yes.
I mean, otherwise, it wouldn't do us any good if you are not, at some point in time, privy to the data and have a use for that data in determining and selecting providers for us.
Yes, sir. So that current model right now, the current analytics firm, they facilitated that process on doing the RFP on our behalf for us to have OptumRx, and the reports that they run is currently provided directly to USI. It's not provided to us.
Because
So
that data is going to set the cost of our pharmaceutical, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, in the end, you know, from USI's perspective, so we have a pharmacy team, you know, on our behalf. Craig McGowan came in February. We have Dr. Vu, that's been on this group since, you know, we moved self-funded in, you know, the 21-22 timeframe. So, you know, our pharmacy team actively vets and looks at all from a data and contractual standpoint. It's just the analytic firms is more of the overwatch, kind of sort of Fox not watching the hen house kind of perspective. And so we'll definitely coordinate with, you know, Payer Ally to see what they come up with and look at our team's analysis based on claims experience and kind of together work on whether or not we see any improvements that can be made. You know, when you're with, and you know, Payer Ally might be able to speak to this a little bit today, but you know, when you're with an OptumRx and we have a set formulary, for the most part, during the year, there's not an opportunity to make any changes to formulary, what drugs are approved or not approved. It's kind of more cookie cutter. You know, there are opportunities to look at optional pharmacy benefit managers that we could customize a little bit more, carve out specialty drugs. And so working with an analytics firm to look at our data, look at our internal data together, you know, we'll come up with a game plan moving forward. But definitely, I think there's coordination that's going to happen.
right, and that's my concern, is that we're not just producing data for data's sake, but that you as the broker are involved in that process and that everybody's involved in it, because otherwise, when we get down to the nitty-gritty.
Absolutely.
If you are not involved in that, then we're just producing data for data's sake. Okay.
That's my concern as well. Like, I guess, did these guys evaluate our current data and what would they have done different? I don't, again, I'm not health insurance expert. I'm trying to understand that.
it's one of those,
Yeah, so
it's one of
I
those
could talk a little bit
processes
about
of it's
that, if you like. I think one of the things that separates us from your current vendor, right, is Truveris does not, that's a really good technology platform, but we have the technology platform. We also have a doctor of pharmacy on each account, right? We touch a large volume of claims. Like, we do a lot of work in the Medicare, Medicaid, and federal government space, right? Because we don't have any product in the supply chain. So it's crunching the data, but also having someone who's a PharmD who could look at that data kind of, right, and be more proactive with the things that you need to think about. Also, all of our analysts at our firm are former PBM underwriters, right? So that's a big thing in our business, right? Someone can understand the pricing optics and some of the games that PBMs play to basically trying to find contract loopholes. We have expertise in all those areas, right? So I think that's been a big differentiator.
Thank you.
And something that's been missing for us is the interaction between the analytics firm and us as administration. So the previous models, what we had is the past 2 years, there is the company that's running that data, but there isn't that interaction with us to discuss the data, to discuss the trends, to talk about what changes that can happen differently. We haven't had that. So as part of us moving forward and changing our goals, that is something that we're looking for, and that is something that Payer Ally has as one of their business models, is that customer service point, and not just running the data and producing just a report. They strive on having that customer service interaction. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right, then I call the Capital Improvements Committee to order and invite Mr. Johnny Rome and Mr. Rogers.
We'll have him.
Hello,
Good evening,
but
everybody.
not Mr. Forey.
No, Mr. Forey's under the weather today.
Oh, no.
We got cover. Well, good evening again, everybody. First item on the agenda is Hornville High School Athletic Field and Parking Sidewalk Improvements Project. This is part of our long-range plan for physical education athletic facilities. Just to familiarize you with the area, this is the area behind the football stadium going towards baseball and softball. If you've ever been a game there, access is somewhat limited. There's some rock or limestone parking lots, but this aims to do a drainage project to get that side of things in order so we can do a paved parking, handicap access, proper access to our baseball and softball fields, with also allowing additional overflow parking for the stadium as well. So the drawings are ready to go. We're just seeking permission to go out to bid, hopefully to bring that back to y'all sometime in February, start the project as soon as regular baseball season and softball season ends, and be ready for the fall semester. So we're here for any questions that you may have.
First of all, thank you for bringing, no, I mean that seriously, I do. I learned, it's more than just wheelchair access, it's baby strollers. Obviously, I need to push a baby stroller a little bit more when my kids were younger, which I was reminded of. The only thing I again, being a baseball guy and is the netting along those fence, because when somebody's walking along that sidewalk, like that righty, and I'm thinking about like walking down that left field line of baseball, a righty who hooks that line drive, and of course I experienced it at Destrian on a Saturday morning, and I took one for the team, but I mean, I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get whacked and we're gonna get, so it might be worth and I'm not saying a 30-foot, I mean, maybe 5, maybe 10, just something enough to where if it clears that net, that it's not, that's gonna go above their head on the sidewalk. Does that make?
Yeah, it makes sense. We can certainly look into it, kind of like we put by the shot pit.
Agenda item is 2.02 substantial completion. Agenda item is 2.02 substantial completion of Hahnville High School AAA Center.
Yeah, you're up. We have Mr. Justin Obear with Grace Abear Architects representing for us today. We appreciate you being here. Okay, so this one, relatively simple as far as the background. AAA Alumni Center is ready to be accepted as substantially complete. We did a final inspection, fire marshal approval. There are punch list minor items that we're working on in preparation of getting to our groundbreaking ceremony, which, as you know, is in the near future, but we're here for any questions you may have. But this is just the formality to get the job officially accepted so the contractor can file and start that 45-day lien period and such. Any questions that you may have? Yeah, it's coming along nicely. Yep, credit to the architect.
Is it possible
Mike,
for
microphone.
anyone who might like to have a tour of the building before Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I could take you on one, or if they want to, or.
Yeah, you can contact me. We can take you through it.
Okay, tomorrow, can we do that tomorrow?
Can we talk after the meeting and look at our schedules? Please, if you don't mind.
We'll have Mr. Rogers look for his calendar and send a couple of potential dates for the board to observe.
Next Friday.
Friday is the
23rd is
AAA
the.
Center for Hornville, correct?
Yeah, 23rd.
Raise your hand, Friday.
Or a vote?
And the 26th, Monday.
Monday. Yeah.
On Wednesday?
Completion.
Okay.
Okay. It's going to be on the agenda.
I will
for
make it
approval.
happen. I will make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
There's punch items remaining, right?
That's correct. I mean, like, the district has our items, furnishings, signage, things of that landscaping, things that we need to complete. The contractor mostly has minor things. Like I said, it's already achieved, fire marshal status, the elevators working. So minor items that we keep a value on and we just kind of cross them off as they go. But we hold those funds out until those items are completed. But it's mostly owner stuff now, just kind of putting those finishing touches on and getting us ready for that opening ribbon cutting ceremony.
Any other questions? Nope. All right. Moving on to 2.03, substantial completion of Destrehan High School.
If you like the first item, you'll love the second, because change out Destrehan and Hornville. Now, there is only one small caveat, just because of the way the timing of the board meeting and when things fell, Destrehan's status was a little bit behind Hornville's, and we're actually doing the fire marshal review tomorrow. We've met a substantial amount of times recently to kind of go over the things that need to be in place. Mr. Tab is going to be there, feels confident that we can at least get beneficial occupancy with maybe some minor tweaks that we have to do. The fire marshal basically gives you some time to do that. So that's the only caveat. It fell between committee and board. So of course, if there were any complications, we would have to address that at the board on Wednesday. But knock on wood, we're not anticipating that at this time. And then we plan to have the item for Wednesday night ready to be accepted with that fire marshal occupancy, even if it's beneficial in place. So we're here for any questions that you may have.
Questions? All right, moving right along. Thank you for
Mike.
coming. 2.04, Destrehan High School and Hahnville High School Stadium Turf Replacement Project.
Yes. We have Mr. Marco Juarez with us here, representing Civil and Environmental Design Field. I get that name wrong all the time. I'm gonna defer to you, Marco. It's Civil and
Sports.
Civil and Sports. They can't change names on us like that anymore. So before you, we have the item Hornville High School Turf Replacement Project. It's an approved project under the Long Range Plan for Physical Education and Athletic Facilities, Phase 2. Plans have been completed. I'll let Mr. Rogers elaborate on some, but we found a unique opportunity with this item. Our traditional method of procuring these services is one, to go through our design professionals. We've worked with Mr. Marco and his firm for many, many years, through Danny Hebert and Julie Hebert as well. And we usually design and we do a traditional bid. Well, we saw this unique opportunity this year through a government purchasing authority to purchase the specific product we want, pre-vetted, and it after analyzing it within our budget. So it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out and the factors that you might not get exactly what you want. Who knows where the prices are going to come in? I know Mr. Smith over the years has kind of pointed to those government procuring sources and authorities to, look, if it's already vetted and it's there and it meets our demands, let's look to this. It kind of cuts out the middleman, I guess, if you will, a little bit. So we're excited about that opportunity. That's something Kate and, Mr. Rogers and Mr. Foray found out at a conference they went to about this opportunity, so he can speak to that some more if he'd like to.
Yeah, thanks. So we were able to vet a few turf companies at the National Athletic Directors Conference in Tampa this past December, and we came to a heat from the turf, so therefore it helps with the wet bulb test, with the humidity, and being able to be out on the turf, whether it be for PE, soccer, football, in training over the summer months with band camps and things of that nature. So we feel it's a really good product. Mr. Foray and a couple of coaches vetted it by getting on it. They also reached out to the different schools that have it within Louisiana and some other coaches that they know, and they all speak very, very highly of the product that we're seeking to get.
So the temperatures are going to be lower than what we've experienced with the existing turf?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. As well as the GMAX testing. I know Mr. Gregson, we talk about the GMAX testing on the buoyancy of the turf for safety purposes, and it has a very high rating in that sense. And there's no grooming with it, so it should stay true to form. Yep.
I know we had a drainage issue at Destrehan, the bubbling up. Is this going to be addressed and corrected?
Yes. We do have plans for that. That will not be handled through the source well, correct?
It'll be a separate engagement?
Right.
Okay.
Right. But I just wanted to speak to the GMAX. The traditional turf field is designed for a Gmax of 165. This new system, the test data that they provided shows that after they call them like, it's like they run tests where they do a lot of life cycles basically on the turf. It shows, I want to say it was an average of 120s after like a normal life cycle of the turf, like 8 years, 10 years.
So then just for everybody's understanding, like, the higher the number, the harder the turf is, which is the,
And it's appropriate time to replace. Not only are we kind of beyond our warranty period, it's taking a lot of maintenance, having a lot of migration of the infill, but the GMAX test, while we're within range, it's getting harder and harder to achieve that. This surface is going to provide a much better scoring, but also the longevity, because of the way it's structured, we shouldn't have as much grooming and maintenance to keep us at that level. So we're really excited about that. And at Destrehan, we're going to put in a lift station similar to what they had at Hornville. It wasn't seem like the first round we did the turf that it would be needed because of the different water levels there, but we're going to go ahead and put it in to give that second fail-safe to evacuate that water in case of a torrential downpour.
Is that something that's going to be done in-house, or are we going to? Okay.
In-house is in, we're going to seek proposals through our physical plant department with our local plumbing contractors. They're all more than capable of putting in a lift station. You know, when you put in a lift station with turf, and those people that do turf, what they would basically do is go hire out a plumber basically to do that and then put a markup on it. So it makes sense for us we have people locally with the knowledge to do that, to complete that separate from the people that specialize in turf and in landscaping and things of that nature. Yeah.
Thank you.
John, how does the new turf there compare to, in terms of maintenance, to what we have just finished at the elementary schools?
The elementary school, well, the tracks at the elementary schools are not super high maintenance. I mean, the surfaces are very similar to what we have on the tennis courts. So, you know, there's very little maintenance there, but I believe this system, because we don't have the infill, that the maintenance will be much less. The fibers are a lot tighter, so we won't see the laying down as much, so there won't be as much grooming. So I think minimal maintenance compared to what we've seen in the past. Is that correct, Marco?
Right. I think the only thing you would need to do, which would be like fairly standard, is just clean it. Like
a sweep.
Run a sweeper on it. But you wouldn't need, there's no infill, so you don't need to like redistribute the infill. It is.
Sweeping is something that we do in-house, or do we have to contract that out?
Yes, sir. We do it in-house, and we're doing it on the baseball and softball fields right now. It's a similar system that we use to pull behind a regular gator machine that ties in, and it's basically just brushing the top of the turf to get the loose leaf. Marco, right now, to look at the logo specifically at Hornville, it was a larger logo. We're looking to shrink that down, so we're waiting on a potential difference in quote for that.
Coaches decided that stuff, okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just,
It was coaches, athletic directors that had input,
and
principals to be able to give us feedback on what they wanted.
So what's the timeline?
Yeah, I could speak to it in general, and then Marco, Mr. Suarez and Mr. Rogers, you jump in as you will. But basically, really nice thing about this process is that if the board accepts, we can move forward with contracts and such. They can get all their materials and things lined up to where we can start at right when track ends. Kind of traditionally, that's been our pattern from before, early, mid-May-ish. And then we want to have this completed before football season starts. And I believe the contractors have said that's a reasonable timeline. Anything to add?
Yeah. Installation should be no more than 60 days, and that accounts for any weather delays.
Because, in this case, the base is still good. That first time we did the turf, a lot of work went into that infrastructure, the different lists of limestone and such. So there may be some laser grading just to make things are still accurate, and then where we need as far as drainage, but it's mostly removing and replace. So the process should go pretty quickly, barring unforeseens in weather or things of that nature.
Yeah, it's not as long as the initial process.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I remember back in the day, the old stuff, you could recycle it. You could give it to another school, another place. Can you recycle this old stuff? And I mean recycle, I mean actually like give it to someone, put it at one of the junior highs or something.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that happen a lot. Sometimes what contractors will do is they will post online that they have this turf, and they will line up a lot of people to come, and they give them free rolls of turf. It can also be recycled. It's just a hard process because the old versions of turf have different materials, so not everyone is set up to actually recycle it. I think the newer turfs are all made of the same type of plastic, so it's a lot easier to recycle it.
And I meant reuse more than recycle.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Mr. Cody, to your point, I wouldn't recommend that we reuse this for the age and then the infill alone, trying to keep it up. Is that what we're trying to move away from? So to have it on one of our play areas or middle school facilities, I wouldn't recommend to utilize that.
You're back at the same situation.
Any more questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
60-day to install, will that interfere with the practices starting for football season?
Yes, sir. And both football programs are aware of that. They will utilize their grass practice fields until the football field is finished and ready to get on. They're also making plans in case this does go into August and scrimmages and beginning of the year practices. So we'll just keep them involved in the meetings and up to date. Good thing is both football coaches do some different tasks for us over the summer, so they'll be able to be a part of those conversations during the summer construction meetings.
Sure.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Call the Technology Committee meeting to order. Ms. Hale,
Good
301 is all
afternoon.
yours.
Awesome. All right, good afternoon. So I came in, what was that, the October meeting to ask for approval to go forward with an RFP. And now we have changed committees and done everything. So I'm coming back with my request to accept. Mr. Art, Mr. Al were laughing at me when we were talking about some of the technicalities of scoring. So this time, we just kind of went with our core team because it was right in the middle of transitions and everything like that. So with our cabling, you'll notice an attached score sheet. So we do have a winner. We had 5 bids, and it is Omni IT Solutions, which are a local vendor. So this is for recabling all of the old system and all old network cables that are at Alaman. So they're in the ceiling and in the walls. So what this will do will pave the way for us to get a full-blown audio enhancement at Alaman's that will work beautifully with Dustin's access control that he's already launched at Alaman's. So they will become basically our model school because it's a smaller school, it's more controlled. We have a little bit more leniency in play. If we were to do it at a big school and something went wrong, that would, imagine it at something like Hahnville. So we wanted to keep it nice and tight and contained. So once that's done, then Alaman's will be our model school. We can bring the other principals in and show them kind of how it could work in the perfect world with audio enhancement and Raptor and access control all working as one system. Are there any questions?
Why no cost associated with it?
It's E-rate, so we receive all of it back. Yep. So ultimately, none. It's 100% E-rate eligible.
What could go wrong?
Nothing.
Okay, well, you said if something goes wrong, then it
Nothing
happens
else.
there. What could go wrong?
You get glitches and things like that.
Okay.
So it'll be our.
I have a question.
Sure.
With E-rate funding, do we have to finance the project and then get reimbursed?
For this project, no. It will go directly around us. So they have their quotes and they give it to us, and then we give it to E-rate, and then it goes through them. So sometimes it can be, but for this project, I opted not to.
And is there a possibility that there might not be any E-rate funding?
From what I've heard, no. So with this, it's category 2, and that happens every 5 years. So we get a 5-year allotment. which in this case is about 2.7 million for the 5 years. And that's just for things like networking, hardware. I can't use that for internet. It's a different category 1 versus category 2. So this is locked in. My numbers are locked in for 5 years. From every E-rate course I've been to and our E-rate consultant, it seems like these are pretty firm because in order to maintain our status federally and nationally and globally as competitive, the United States with technology, we need to make sure our schools are maintained as well. So usually the technology money, they're pretty sure is going to remain firm where it is. Same thing with internet and everything like that.
Okay.
I've been assured.
Just in case something would happen, how much would this project cost?
A project like this is, from their bid, it's around 60,000 just for that one school.
Almost
And that's a small
60,000.
school.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think we can handle that.
for elements.
Close?
Yeah, Hahnville, Destrehan, different stories, but for elements, we're good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Perfect. Thank you.
Karen and Mr. Ellis.
That brings us to the Personnel and Policy Committee. We have 2 items on the agenda. The first one is personnel items. Ms. Teresa Brown is here to walk us through that.
Hi, good evening. You have the personnel items that are in front of you. If you have any questions that I can answer, please do. If not, these are the personnel notes for January. I will share that we did just calculate our, trends and retention data, and our teacher retention rate is at 97%, which is fantastic, and our classified retention rate is around 96%. So as you're looking at these and looking at any, separations and such, we are knowing the number of people that we hired this summer, which was collectively close to 150. We are doing really well. So excited. February 2nd. A little early because of Mardi Gras.
So we have a 97% teacher rate.
Yes, ma'am.
96 classified?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, and these assessments, February 2nd will go out?
Yes, ma'am.
And when will y'all start calculating the needs of schools and things like that?
Oh, immediately. We will start working on staffing end of January.
Okay.
And our staffing meetings are in March with the school principals. And so we will be very busy now through the end of June. So, but good stuff. Good stuff, but we're looking good.
Just a reminder, make sure your microphone is on when you are speaking.
Any other questions for Mrs. Brown?
The retention rate, is that based on this year, so measuring from August?
Yes, sir.
What
That's
year?
where we're trending.
Okay.
Yep, that's as of December, which is really
Make
good.
sure what time frame,
Yep.
that's good.
And if you thank you. And we landed last year at 90%. So yeah, we're in a great position.
If there are no other questions, this item will go to the board table on Wednesday night. Our next Personnel and Policy Committee item is recommendations of termination for a probationary employee, and I think Dr. Ortling is going to handle this one.
Yeah, Board, this was reviewed, individually, just so you knew what this agenda item was. The information is located there in executive content. Should you have any questions, you can certainly feel free to ask me outside of this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Ortling.
Yes, sir.
If there are no questions,
Move adjournment.
A second.
a motion by Mr.
Suffer.
Mr. Suffren, who's not a member of the committee. So I'll take that motion from Mrs. Weber and a second by Mr. Smith, the committee members. Meeting at Personnel and Policy Committee is adjourned. No offense, Mr. Suffren, but that's
No offense taken.
my committee makeup.
All right.
The Finance and Audit Committee meeting is called to order. The members of the Finance and Audit Committee for 2026 is yours truly as chair, Becky Weber, who's seated next to me, and our past chairperson who is now a member of the committee, Mr. Al Suffren. We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that's unusual, but we're pretty swamped as we move forward during the coming year. So anyway, that item is 5.01, accounts payable, and you've had an opportunity to look at that, so I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills.
I make a motion to call this committee to order.
Motion by Ms. Weber. Mr. Suffren.
To adjourn.
Before we adjourn, if I could just make a comment, Mr. Smith and members of the
Go ahead.
board. Our financial audit was due to the state, the Legislative Auditor's Office at the end of the calendar year. And I'm sure our CFO, Mr. Ronald White, was busy during the holidays tying up loose ends. So I just want to give attribution to Mr. White for the.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You know, I know it's always some loose ends that needed to be tied up before the end of the calendar year, so.
Everything was timely filed.
And he was, I mean, at least his vehicle was here, no other, he was missing an
Journal, as well as through our central bidding journal, as well as through our central bidding. We did only receive one proposal, and that is from our current lobbyist, Magnolia Strategic Consultants. They are proposing to move forward again with a one-year contract with the opportunity to extend for an additional 1 or 2 years at the same price that they have done for the past 3 years. Additionally, in their proposal, they recommended that they will be moving forward with a dedicated team for St. Charles Parish Public Schools to include Lenny Kapowski as our official contact, but also Ms. Sherman, who's an attorney, as well as administrative support, so we can become more active with possibly drafting legislation as opposed to just reacting to legislation as it comes about. Mr. Kapowski did have another prior commitment for this evening, but he did tell me if y'all had any questions, please, I could call him on the phone right now, and he could answer any questions that you would have.
And to Ms. McMillan's point, we are, I've tasked my team to look by department on some possible changes to legislation, at the service level that would have the most direct impact, and almost producing packets that we can provide to our lobbying firm, and they in turn can set up meetings with our legislators as well as other representatives from around the state to hopefully get some of those things passed. So we are looking to move in a much more proactive way than we have had to in the past. And I think we're at a better place now in understanding just the legislative process, as well as what we expect from a lobbying firm such as Magnolia Strategic Consultants. So certainly appreciate Regina's, guidance from that standpoint, but also for us to really, strategically ask what we want of this particular consulting firm. So we're in a little bit different position than we were 3 years ago, and we look to continue to be more and more proactive in this space.
Are there any questions?
touch on a session this year is a little earlier, March 9th it begins, June 1st it ends. So this is the longer year, being an even year.
Bills can be filed as
So
well.
every other year, even year, it's a little longer, so.
And
It's not the money year. It's the,
I would just encourage you to make sure that bookkeeping is being done by the consultant and not your department.
if there's no other questions or comments, this item will be moved to the board table on Wednesday night.
The only thing I would mention, I think you all got an email earlier about the SCLAS legislative meeting. That is February 24th. So just wanted to emphasize that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Franklin.
And there'll be something come out soon after the week. I'll get you the exact date, but there's a legislative breakfast happening in the parishes.
Okay, consent agenda items.
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry, I thought we already did. All right. Any objections to
Ray.
2.01, 2.02, 2.03, 3.01, and 4.01 as consent agenda items? Any objections? 2.01, 0203, 3.01, 4.01. So it's essentially all of the bid authorization, substantial completion, and then the personnel and the internal, the cabling stuff, the E-rate stuff.
What about accounts payable?
What about accounts payable?
We've been putting accounts payable on that? Okay, and 5.01, okay. Okay, same again? Yep.
We'll have a list.
I'll give you the list after. And then also too, please stay as we go through our run-through assembly after completion here.
If you recall from the weekly scoop, we're going to do a short run-through of assembly for the board so that we will be running both assembly and board docs simultaneously this month so that we can completely move to assembly next month. So currently, which is why you see 3 people behind me, they're running through assembly at the same time that they've been running through this meeting so that we can experience hopefully no glitches, but also for our phenomenal secretaries, how to run the actual board meetings themselves.
Log out, huh?
You can log out of.
Adjourn this meeting. Can I get a second? No, I move to adjourn. Just kidding, I don't need a second.
Second.
It's adjourned.
You could.
No, don't shut down the computer. I'm gonna actually.